Let's go for the actual store. Europa natural
Greetings, humanity, and welcome to Europa Natural Law. I'm Nemo Jones in Devon, Albion, Britannia, and over to my left we have
Derek Bartolacelli, Italiano-Americano, living in France. Bonjour.
Hi, my name is Wukan Kempfer and I'm from Germany.
Hi, my name is Christian Reich. I'm from Germany and I'm the host of the channel Heilung durch Wahrheit, Healing Through Truth, and I'm glad to be here.
Hi, I'm Yvonne. I'm from the UK.
Hi, I'm Tommy McGann. I'm from Glasgow in Scotland.
And I'm Oscar from Denmark, and happy to be with you all. And great to have a new face here. Hi, Christian. A great name for a channel, Healing Through Truth. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So yeah, speaking of which, Christian, what I'd like to do is just ask you to give a little introduction to yourself, how you came to this work, and yeah, what brings you here, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and yeah, I try to make it short. So, yeah, basically, I had a lot of suffering in my life through my immoral lifestyle. I created a lot of self-inflicted suffering. I lived since my teens, a criminal lifestyle as a street thug, and yeah, harmed a lot of people and also myself. And from this, I have created lots of causalities in my life that made my life not so nice. And from that suffering, I evolved and found the work from Wook. He translated the Natural Law Seminar. I found that, and before that, I actually saw the Law of One teachings Wook made. So what he translated in German, and this made a big difference in my life. And with that knowledge in me, I have still lived immoral and created lots of chaos in my life and lots of hard situations for everyone around me and myself, and until a point where I had enough, and I started to take this knowledge and put it into wisdom, and changed my behavior, changed myself. I acknowledged that I was the problem, and I had also great teachers in the form of psychedelics. They have showed me my mistakes, and yeah, it was sometimes a very hard teacher, but yeah, it helped me a lot to evolve and transform into the person I am now, and I'm really grateful for being here and now speaking to you guys.
Awesome. Cool story. And I'm noticing the nice, all the herbs. I just realized that we've got a herbal background. That's really, really sweet. So yeah. So the topic for today is healing. And obviously we could take this in a lot of different directions, and I'm happy to just open up the floor if someone wants to jump in, or I can do it. Yeah, Vic, you wanna?
Yeah, sure. Just to add to what Chris had said, we made some shows together on like our healing journey as well. So I think that's like in the background, it is very important to like start with yourself and really recognize and see what is good for you, what is helping you, what is like good food, what are good teachers, good water or good fluids, and yeah, good friends as well. So everything you surround or you consume, like information, sitting 24 hours a day in front of a TV probably won't help. But listening to like true words, like teachings from, let's say, Mark Passio or other great teachers, Jordan Maxwell, etc., will definitely to unwind all that stuff that is, yeah, that has been put in our minds, that is real, like all this matrix stuff, like politics and yeah, all that stuff. I think that's great bookie theater. That's just for, yeah, our entertainment or infotainment. And it's I think it's a very I get some hope when I see the how the like trustworthiness of the mainstream media plummets more and more. And I think that it's a very good sign that most of the people won't take their shit anymore, to just put it in French. So, and I think it's even like it puts a lot of pressure on our shoulders to really educate and like inspire the people who are looking for alternatives, not the mainstream lamestream news. And I think that's our big opportunity and our big chance to really get involved and really change our direction as a species into a better future for us all. But we more people have to get involved on all levels, from activism, doing things like handing out flyers, to making videos, to making books, etc. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
wait for you.
I would like to continue. I want to say that healing is a very individual path for everyone. So everyone has his own life, everyone has his own traumas, but I think the principles are always the same. So, for example, I think it was Wook that mentioned this example a couple of shows ago about the wound. So, if you have a wound, a broken leg, for example, you have to recognize that there is a problem. You have to see, I have a problem in my life. My life is a chaos. It's a mess. I suffer a lot, and you have to recognize that there actually is something that's not aligned with truth. And from there, you have like the second step where you make a diagnosis. So when you go, for example, to a doctor, every doctor will do a diagnosis to heal you. So before you start healing, you have to make a proper diagnosis and see what are the causes of the problem, what led you to make those mistakes, or yeah, just to yeah yeah, make those traumas, and from there you have the opportunity to change something, and by putting your knowledge into action, so actually doing something with the knowledge you have gained. And I think that's very important, and those steps are for everyone. So everyone has his own traumas, everyone has his own problems, but those steps are really crucial. And sure, before that, you have to be honest to yourself, because when you're not honest to yourself, it won't help you, because you will just lie to yourself. As for example, in my life, I was a master in lying to myself, and I really perfected it. And it was a really, really big obstacle to overcome this, and to be real to myself, and to accept the hard truth. But that's the way to go. It's, in my opinion, better to suffer in short term by looking at the hard truth, at the broken leg, and see, okay, that's my problem, I have to do something, instead of just saying, oh, I will look in the other way, ignore it, and try to walk another 2 kilometers with this leg and ignore the pain. But at the point, it will just hinder you and hold you back. And yeah, also, I think it's really important to listen to our heart, to use our heart as our compass. So it shows us the way in which we have to go. And then with willpower and courage, just go the way and go it all the way. And I think that's really important for healing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and with our two wonderful German guests, stick with me real quick because we got the etymology of the word healing, and it's Old English HAE combined LAN means to cure, save, make whole, like holistic, right? Sound and well. Like, is your body sound, and your constitution and all these things, right? And from Proto-Germanic, HAIGAN. How do you pronounce that?
Say again, please.
Heigen, HAIJAN.
Heigen.
Heigen, yeah. Is that what health means in German? What's the word for that in German?
It's Gesundheit. Heilung
Yeah.
is healing, and I think it's very much combined with wholeness and the concept of holiness, to be whole, not to be divided in yourself, for example.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. And our dear friend Jasper isn't here, but from Old Frisian, Hella, Dutch, Helen, and from what I learned on some, and I think it might just be like a Norse mythology or just ancient language, but hell is actually a place of healing. Hell means heal. Just think of like Old Frisian, Hella. You're just missing one L, and then you're in California. It's hella cool, yo. You know what I mean? Like West Coast. Anyway. So yeah, you guys brought up some great points, and to get more of just like the human condition and why we need to heal so much, and why things are the way they are. And like from birth, we suffer trauma. Like men get snipped a little bit from the foreskin on their private parts and that kind of stuff. Not everyone, of course, but there's things of that nature. And yeah, so we see, and we've spoken about shadow work in those aspects of the psyche and how it needs a scheisse load of healing, right? So, and the first place always starts here, and taking it through the Hermetica, the mentalism. Why do you think the placebo effect is such a thing, right? It's because the mind, it could, in layman's terms, the mind is playing tricks on the body, to making it think that it's being healed by some pill, but it's not. But it's just like that mind power, because it's that fucking powerful, right? So, with the Hermetic in mind, it is all about your state of mind, 24/7. You cannot be living in a state of fear, like we mentioned in previous episode, because that can lead to manifested dis-ease, right? And that goes for a lot of this repressed negative emotional stuff, the trauma and that kind of stuff that takes a lot of inner work, shadow work to get over. And the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems within the nervous system, I think. Leslie Powers, she says a lot better than me, but there's so many aspects. So after the mentalism, correspondence, and let's take it to food is thy medicine, right? And I'm sure you guys have heard that there's been more research and studies involved with the gut-brain connection. So having a good balance of your gut floral bacteria and all these things, and what are you ingesting and how are you digesting and how is your metabolism, and does it have that rhythm to be operating at the speed of life and not over consuming or under consuming. Think about the law of polarity in regards to balancing things, also with the alkaline and acidic levels within your body, your stomach, and also just the negative aspects that we have to encounter on a daily basis, and some of the negative things that we consume that could be toxic for us to a degree, whatever, like sugar, alcohol, whatever the fuck, as opposed to the positive side. And then you count those up on a daily basis. All right, how much are we in the positive and how much are we in the negative? So, and it goes beyond just food, right? We have to consider, cosmetics and water and the quality of all these things, right? So, yeah, it's a lifelong journey, because we only get one vessel throughout this incarnation, if you will, procarnation, whatever, right? I forgot what I was going to say, but it doesn't matter, because I'll be back with more, and I'll show some examples of how I keep myself healthy and all that stuff. So yeah, I brought props,
One great thing, what you said on mentalism and mind, is the exercise I think Bruce Lipton told in Biology of Belief. If you just imagine, like you close your eyes and you imagine that the person you love smiles at you, just standing like in front of you. Just when you close your eyes, you automatically get the feeling of falling in love, and this triggers your body to spill out all the chemicals that you feel like when you are in love, and that are rejuvenating your whole body, and like stimulate cell regeneration, etc. And that's a very easy exercise for everybody to do. And like when you can hold this feeling of falling in love for like a minute or two, it's pretty great. It's a great feeling just to like start off your day or something like that. Just to prove the point of like all is mind and mentalism. Yeah.
Lovely. Yvonne, you want to jump on? Tommy, Oscar? I think you're muted though.
All right, I'll go.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to jump in case someone else wanted to jump in. Yeah, it's such a huge subject. Rook, I'm going to go off you, what you said about this time being a great opportunity. It made me think of all the disillusionment, with what's gone on with the conventional medical system. I think a lot of people have been disillusioned. What's gone on in the last couple of years, but also particularly in this country, and I'm sure it's in all countries, the people that still do rely on that kind of healing, they can't get appointments anyway. So it's the waiting lists in this country are absolutely huge. So it is a perfect opportunity to come forward with more natural ways of healing. And I was listening to a YouTube program today, and I always read through the comments as well. And it was a medical doctor, and he was really slagging off, calling it quackery, alternative therapies. And someone put in a great comment saying it's quite interesting how a lot of pharmaceutical companies, they get sent most of their healing ideas from plants in the first place. Just take aspirin, for instance, from the willow tree. But what they do, they break down the compound of that plant and then just make it into an artificial and whatever else they add into it, all their additives, etc. So why not use the plant in the first place? Which I just thought was absolutely insane. And going to the mentalism side of things, this is a great book. I don't know if you guys have seen this one. It's like a bog standard in the alternative world. Louise Hay, Heal Your Body. So this lady, she's passed away now. She broke down every physical manifestation of illness. First comes from a long-term thought form or a mental attitude. Yeah, so she broke it all down. And I always rely, and when I used to do my therapies, I used to get all my clients to buy this book because it's every family should have one. It's like a first aid, really. So it's got every ailment that you can think of, and then it lists all the negative thought forms that have possibly led to the physical manifestation because it's been a long-term condition. Like, go back to that, Derek, you was talking about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, which controls pretty much every function of the body. So if your thought forms, like over the long term, are going, oh, I'm a fucking idiot, oh I'm an idiot, I'm so down, that's what you're sending to your sympathetic nervous system, and it's responding that way. But if you're giving it, like Louise Hayes mentions, a positive affirmation to counteract that, for instance, I'm not an idiot, I am a wonderful person, and give yourself that's actually sending messages to your parasympathetic nervous system, and it will respond on in a better way. I could go on and on because this is my subject, healing. So I don't want to take over the show, so I'll let someone else and then I'll jump in and out, all right?
I thought you were just getting started here.
I could go on and on. I'll let someone else jump in and then we'll fire off each other.
I think the problem with those phrases is that lots of them are in our subconscious from our parents, for example, and they're very deep programmed into us, and it's hard to recognize those programs, and it's really hard work on the self to make, in Jung terms, the unconscious conscious, and that's was in my experience really hard, and I was really left-brained, and it helped me to quiet the mind and through meditation to get to this point where I can recognize this programming. And yeah, also I think what's very important in terms of healing is forgiving yourself, and that's one of the hardest parts in my opinion. And yeah, but when you are able to forgive yourself for having harmed others and having harmed yourself out of lack of love, that can really accelerate the process of healing. And also it's what helped me is to speak about those topics, or to write it down, or to make some form, maybe a podcast for yourself or something like that, just to get it out of you, to get it on a sheet of paper or on your SD card and just listen to it. And that's also a very healing process.
And good, Kristin, as well, that you've on I don't know what to call it, on the good side of things, that you've gone through those experiences, because I'm sure at the bottom of the pyramid structure there's so many people that could relate to your story, and because you've gone through that is, you can speak with authority that what you've done and what you've tried has worked, and you've managed to elevate yourself up. So I think it's good that you've trod on those paths.
I'll pop in if you don't mind. First of all, it's good to be back, guys. I've been here for a while. Well, I decided to come back to this show because it's pretty close to home for me right now. And I'm not trying to bring a downer to the situation. It's just the fact of the matter is my dad died quite suddenly 2 weeks ago. So when I seen that the topic was healing, I thought I'd come in because I'm experiencing that just now, and I decided to be a little bit selfish and get some therapy off you guys as well at the same time. So yeah, what I'm experiencing just now is I've dealt with this situation a lot better than I would have imagined before it happened. And I think it's down to the path that I'm on, the same path that you guys are on, because healing comes along with that path. And it's only now that something has happened in my life that it applies to that I've really noticed it. And it's basically through, I can't remember who was talking about, I think it was you, Vuk, or Christian. What you consume and things that you learn is a big part of it. And going down the natural law route and the sort of occult side of that, you learn how to integrate parts of yourself. So the first thing I noticed I've dealt with better than I thought I would was the emotional side of it. I've not been letting my emotions take over me. I'm acknowledging them, I'm even sitting with them, but I'm not letting myself become really reactive with them. And I don't think that would have been the case if I wasn't doing the work that I'm doing. I think the Tommy before he came into this realm of knowledge would have been a bit more reactive and a bit more out of control with his emotions for sure. The mental side of it as well, I'm not letting my mind race away. It's tempting to do that, let my mind race away with and get pulled in all sorts of different directions because it's a bit stressful just now, and resisting the temptation to get selfish about things, you know. And I've found myself, because of those two factors and the actions that I take, I've been a much bigger help to the family around me, especially my mum. So although there is healing needed at this time by myself and by everybody else involved, the healing that I've already went through has really helped me out in this situation. And I'm so grateful that I've discovered this knowledge and went down this path, because what I'm really describing just now is somebody that's more of a complete human being than he was before he started this path. I'm by no means the finished article, and there's lots of work to be done in me, that's for sure. And you know, the shadow work continues. You know, somebody asked, because I watch the show still, somebody asked, could you give an example how natural law has helped, the knowledge of non-natural law and associated subjects has helped you in your life? Well, I've just given you one. Right, it does help you. But I'm discovering now you don't really notice it until there's something to really apply it to. And I didn't even go out my way to apply it to it. It just came naturally to me. I'm not saying everything's rosy in the garden with me, it's not. But even like somebody mentioned shadow work, I think it was you, Derek, mentioned shadow work. I've even, because it's 2 weeks on now, in the last couple of days, I've even applied what you might consider shadow work concepts to getting over the grief, basically. And it's something that most people would find really not intuitive. So I've actually went down and sat down quietly in a room and intentionally brought my dad to mind and just sat with it, which I've discovered that most people struggle with in grief and in such a traumatic moment. But it's actually been quite helpful for me to do that. It's just to process it, just to get used to, you know, my dad's not here anymore. My dad is just thoughts now. My dad's memories, you know. It was a useful, I don't know if you would call it, is that shadow work? I don't know, I just kind of done it. So that's why I come on the show, guys. It's been good to get back on and talk about these, and it's been a good avenue for me to talk to some friendly faces who aren't attached to this situation, you know, who understand the things we all talk about. But I'll let somebody else come in.
Yeah, great to have you back.
I'd like to add on a bit to the things you brought up, or like the point of grieving, Tommy, because I think that's an important aspect of healing. And I also got the meme of the 5 stages, which people probably know. Maybe Derek can bring it up. And it's basically like it's not like it might be a bit, you know, too categorical and boxing in, but the point I think that I like about it is saying that there's a process of it, that it's a healing process, and it's not like you're taking a pill and now you're good. And I think that to requote Derek's, I'd never heard that before, the speed of life, that things move in, and healing also moves in a way that is it's interesting to see how that process works. And for example, with grieving, I find that there's a YouTuber called Derek. No, he's not called Derek. Daniel. It's called Daniel Mackler, and he goes quite a bit into the importance of grieving. And the point he makes is often that we need to return to grief, and that it's like, even though there might be like an urge to rush to acceptance and be like, I'm fine, I'm good, to create that space of feeling, it might be sorrow or gratitude or what it might be for the things we've lost or that we've had but no longer have. And one of the points I like that he makes is that being in denial in today's society is actually it's actually, it looks like healing. Like if one is really good at denying, one comes off as being healed, as having healed one's troubles. I think that's a good point, and I think for me, denial is something that I would also speak about in this regard, in the regard of grief, and also what Christian spoke about earlier when he talked about self-deception and self-deceit, like lying to oneself. How big part, or like maybe even the first part of his healing process, was overcoming the lies that we tell ourselves. People also touched upon how some beliefs, some lies are really deep in our subconscious, are really like ingrained in our belief systems. They come from childhood and so on, and the difficulty that like the challenge that it involves recognizing these beliefs and also changing them. I think, Yvonne, you were speaking about how if we have a negative belief about ourselves, how we can change that through affirmations. And one of the things that I find important in that regard, when one wants to use the power of repetition and affirmations to program one's subconscious mind, is to find affirmations or sentences that one actually believes, or like one can actually feel. So that there is a kind of like a balance. You want to not not be too positive. Oh, I think one does not want to be too positive, in the sense one does not want to just like try to how can you say, like program oneself with a sentence that one doesn't really believe, because I think it's important we feel it. That's not to say we can't push what we believe a bit, and have some things that are positive. And it is incredible how dumb our subconscious minds are. Like one can really have a deep impact with those affirmations. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that point up about how I think it's important to have like realistic affirmations, like things that one actually can see in one's life, or like one has points of references or things that one can feel. And then I want to bring also the focus on how incredible the wonderful power of healing is. Like how amazing it is that there is this natural power that we possess of healing, that we do heal. Like it is something we do, like that we have this capability. I think that is holy. That is something to be grateful for, and also have as an information. You know, I'm healing. How often do we say things like, "Oh, I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling so shitty," which is something I could say right now, but I could also say, "Thank you for this filtered water that I have, and I'm using it to cleanse my body from a bit too much alcohol the last couple of days." So yeah, I'm healing, or I am cleansing. Is something I could say that has a different tone to it, and it does have an impact. What are the ways we use to describe reality? To bring it back to grief, I think that is something also interesting, that we say we lose people, right? We've lost them, and that's kind of like a euphemism, because the truth is they died. It's not that we can't find them. You know, they're just dead. They're not. We can't interact with them anymore in the same way that we used to. So we've lost, you could say, but we can no longer do that. We've lost that possibility of interacting with them as living beings. But yeah, maybe because I come from family, I think, where, like, for example, yeah, we tend to kind of be a bit too, positive or optimistic sometimes about things that are grave, or like that are sad. Like it often gets described in a way that's like, oh, but it's actually beautiful, and I kind of like that, but I also see that as being part, again, of that denial thing I was speaking of before, like that we don't have to rush to acceptance and be like, I see the beauty in it, I'm at peace with it. It's all right to be in the other processes, and it's not necessarily even linear. Like we might have to go back sometimes and be like, oh shit, I'm still in denial about this, or I'm still angry about this, or trying to bargain, which is kind of, yeah. Anyway, so I thought some really cool points were brought up. I guess since this is the Natural Law Forum from Europe, a roundtable discussion, a very important point, important points that have been brought up by Christian and Derek is how we can use natural law to how we can apply it to heal. And the 2 points that were brought up, if I remember correctly, were how there's a stepwise progression in recognizing that there is some suffering, diagnosing the cause of that suffering, and then rectifying the cause. So that's the principle of causality, if one wants to look at the KYBALION or the Hermetics. But it's not only, Hermetic philosophy doesn't have a patent on describing that aspect of reality. It's just every effect has a consequence, and when we think about healing, we think it means that, or like, I don't know how to say it in a short way, but for example, if I get a fever and I'm feeling unwell, well, that is a process of healing, right? And often these processes of becoming better, of healing, are not understood as such, and we try to treat them. So it's important we understand what are the causes and what are the symptoms. If I'm just treating the symptoms, like for example, right now I could pop a pill that would get rid of my headache, but it wouldn't really get rid of the process that I need to go through to cleanse my body, to heal my body, just to use one example. And then, yeah, also this, the principle of mentalism, how our minds really have a powerful influence on our health. I think you also touched upon that, Yvonne, with the book by Louise Hay. And yeah, someone also spoke about the biology of the leaf book. Yeah, I think this topic is incredibly interesting. And I guess one of the things that I really find how it aligns with natural law is this thing of recognizing the causes, recognizing how the cause of something needs to be rectified, needs to be changed in order for the effect to be otherwise or to be different.
Cause and effect, baby. Yeah.
You know, Oscar, you talked about the. Sorry, mate. Do you want to come in, Nemo?
Yeah. Well, cheers. Yeah, well, it was just thinking about cause and effect. Like, it's not just about entering into the realm of cause means dealing with the effects as they actually are manifesting, and then kind of doing this dance with cause, you know, I suppose, you know. And so I feel like, so that, and what that is being creative in yourself and how you're living, I think. So like, what I've been thinking while people have been talking is about something that I've learned. So a part of my kind of healing journey has been to be with sadness in recent years. You know, I've learned to sort of really appreciate my capacity to feel sadness and melancholy and the reality of that, and to sit with it and acknowledge it as part of what can actually drive positive action as well, or creative action. So, you know, when we talk about cause and effect, it's not like there was a bad cause and now there's a bad effect and now I have to change that. You know, it's like, well, it's more of there's more of an ongoing kind of dialogue with life, you know, and part of that is this to a degree kind of acceptance of things as they are, or really feeling into things as they are, you know. And this is also connecting with your own trauma, which I think is just such a huge thing, because it's not, we have you know, we've talked about this before, we have our own trauma and then we have the collective trauma, and the collective trauma is so massive and it goes into things that we can't really possibly know, other than on a, you know, whether you want to call it a genetic level or this kind of, yeah, we're reaching into the unknown. We can speculate about the ancient past, and we can speculate about our own history of our genes and all that kind of thing. But regardless, you know, there's no doubt that there's trauma there that's quite likely beyond anything of this that we might have experienced in this life, and then there's just the things of this life that, you know, that we can't really that, you know. So when I think of my story, there's things there that I'm like, well, I know this happened, but I don't really know how it felt at the time. Like, I can't, you know, and I'm still kind of like relating to that and trying to come to terms with it and trying to see how it's echoing in subtle ways in how I am today. And part of that is just listening, you know, and being with though, being with those resonances in a sort of really, I guess, just a tender way, you know, and not analysing necessarily, or having an analytical aspect, but also just an experiential aspect of saying, okay, my body is telling me, you know, what this is, so I can just listen. I don't have to sort of rush to diagnosis, you know, and healing, because the healing is so huge that it's kind of, and it's ongoing, and I'm not going to do it all today, you know.
This aspect of being present, which we've touched upon, like being, for example, Tommy, you spoke about doing a meditation where you were visualizing your father and being present with the emotions that came up. I think it's funny how, you know, it's cheesy too, but how, you know, Christmas is often associated with giving presents, and it's dark and it's winter and we're inside a lot of the time. Just as well as we can be present with ourselves and give ourselves that presence, we can also give other people that, right? It's a time where it's the majority of suicides happen in this time of year. So if we can inspire other people to be present with how they're feeling and feel like they can have space for it, instead of that it's strangling them in their inner world, what bigger present could there be?
The presence of the gift of life and how you present yourself, and recognize and realize that we're always connected to our ancestors and through the ethernets, you know, internet, all that stuff as well. So the more you love yourself, the more you feel connected to that life force energy and, you know, in Lakesh type of things, and, you know, agape, right? Universal love. It's quite a healing agent, and operating from there, that heart-based intelligence, it ripples out vibratory healing frequency. I've noticed for myself, but yeah. Tommy, you wanted to say something before Nemo jumped in. You still got that on your mind?
Yeah, well, Nemo actually kind of covered it a wee bit. What you were, I think what Nemo was kind of alluding to was like healing's an ongoing thing. What I'm experiencing right now, the thing I'm going through, it feels very organic. And there's been a wee bit of chat about a process, identifying it and doing something about it. And that's valid, yeah, but I can only go off what's in my life just now. It does feel more organic. It feels like it's just happening. It feels like it's just part of the human experience. And, you know, like when this would be perceived and is a negative thing at the moment in my life, right? But I understand if there's something negative, there's going to be something positive as well. And that's kind of what needs to be recognised and aimed for. Because I already know that I'm going to be changed. Once this is all, I mean, I'll always miss my dad, right? But once I'm fully back into the swing of my life down the line, I know I'll have changed because of this. So in short, what I'm kind of saying, it's part of your consciousness evolution. If you can recognise what's going on and how to work with it. I don't know if I've explained that very well, but I think Nemo might have done a better job than me in that. But is that what you were getting at, Nemo?
Sorry, trying to unmute. Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, real quick, because I love what you said with, you know, the dance, like this dance of life that we're going, you know, with the cause and effects, and you're really trying to understand the causal factors to heal the effects, right? And so the transcendence, right? I got a music mix coming up about that, but yeah, it just corresponds quite poetically and healthy. Anyways, Vuk, you're pretty much on deck. Did you want to jump in? Or Christian?
I think I'm good if we want to start our like finishing comments. I think it's very important what was said today, that we first have to recognize the problem with oneself, with our surroundings, with like our community, with our like country, etc., and really do what is necessary to be more whole again and more like, yeah, loving and healing for others. I think that I brought up an example that I read this year, and the study shows even when you just witness like a polite gesture or somebody being polite to another on the street, just witnessing it will have a positive effect on your whole like energetic makeup, quote unquote. And I think that's aspect of life that is very much overlooked in our society, because we are very much like in pulse of our machine gods, like digital clocks, etc. And I think it would be very much helpful for most of us to really like be present in the moment, and if possible be helpful and polite. And I think when we be a good like example, leading by example, by good example, in this way we can really change a lot of people and like our whole community to the better. That's like a part of healing as well, not just to work on yourself, but to carry it to the people around you as well, especially the methods that you used that really worked. And I think that is really important to share the knowledge on how to like work on certain things, and many ways lead to Rome. And yeah, I think it's a great time for healing, especially now with the holidays, the holy days and the dark days. And it's very important to hold up the light inside yourself in these dark times. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's all about aligning oneself with truth and breaking the mind control. And the mind control is everywhere. So we are born in this mind control matrix, and we have really work on ourselves and develop ourselves to come out of this. And yeah, in my case, plant medicine was really helpful because there you are forced to be real to yourself. So it's very hard to run away from yourself on plant medicines or with plant medicines. And so in that case, they can really help in this process. And yeah, ultimately it's the phrase "know thyself," and that's really important. And yeah, I would end my part with the quote from Casey O'Brien: "Love is the greatest healer," and that's truth. Love for truth, and yeah, thank you.
Nice you brought up Katie O'Brien quote there. She's the author of Transformation of America, right? Written trans with CE, trans. If it's cool with everyone, I'd like to talk. I have a couple of points I'd like to share.
No, it's not cool, man. No, just kidding.
One point.
Thanks for asking, though. Yeah. Sorry, man. Go for
it. Yeah, one point is actually related to this slide here, and I don't know if you're the creator of the expression, Tommy, but there is this question of like what would happen if we invested as much time healing our emotional pain as we did scrolling on social media. You created this expression, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, called scrolliosis. And I just really think I really think that's a funny expression, because because yeah, that's probably, if there was like an opposite to being present with one's emotions and emotional pain, I would probably say that the scoliosis would be an example of that.
One of the symptoms of scoliosis is the loss of your soul.
Yeah, I think one thing that also ties in with this scrolling, or like doom scrolling as it's been called as well, is that it's when we're trying to heal, when we're thinking about healing and the process of becoming whole or arriving at health, toxicology is a big branch of that science. The science of medicine is what is toxic for us, what should we not what should we abstain from or use in the right amount, right? And yeah, toxicology, what is toxic? I mean, if we refuse to intake poison, that is the fucking highway to healing. But it's not to say, oh, now I am fucked up because I was state indoctrinated and I took in so much poison, or now I am poisoned and permanently so. I mean, there is, again, this, we have the power to heal, and it's and it has a lot to do with not at least using the principle of polarity, right? Not adding on to the same polarity of what's not gonna make us heal. At least doing that, at least refusing to pour more poison in that, or like if that image makes sense. And then yeah, of course, also doing things that are good, healthy is I mean, there's a whole internet for that, and books and stuff. One other image I'd like to wait, maybe it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. If you look at it, you see that there's many dimensions of wellness, and one dimension is the environmental. And the way I'm interpreting that is how we're inspiring our communities to health, how we're leading them to become more healed. And I think that is a cool aspect of healing, is that it has like this ripple effect, it has this butterfly effect, or it makes ripples in the like these waves in the water, right? So as I'm taking personal responsibility and focusing on my individual bettering, improvement, that is actually making the world a better place. To quote, the famous Michael Jackson song, I took a look at myself and I made that change. And that is probably the most healing thing one can do, right? And then, yeah, the other point I want to make is, just as you can see in this image, that there's alignments of different dimensions. Well, there's the Trinity, which is not in this image here, but there's the Trinity of our consciousness. There's our thoughts, the way we think. There's our emotions, and there's our actions. And if we can align those three to truth, if we can, as we think, feel, and then also act, then we've aligned ourselves. And I also see that aspect, the aspect of alignment with truth, with natural law. Like, if I can become part of the whole, I think is also, part of healing. One thing is, yeah, I want to heal, integrate the aspects of my subconscious that I am unconscious of, as you referenced before, Christian, with Carl Jung. He goes a lot into that there is a drive for healing within ourselves, but there's also the aspect of healing which is becoming part of a whole. And that's not to go all into collectivism, of course, and groupthink, but it's to see our interconnectedness and see how our example is it can be a healing example. Like, there might be plenty of shitty teachers out in the world, but one good teacher can help you start unwind all of the fuckery, all of the deception. So yeah, I think that's an aspect I wanted to bring. Of course, there's also, when we're speaking about natural law, the spiritual dimension to wellness, which I would interpret as pertaining to morality, pertaining to the healing of our conscience, of recognizing what is just and no longer repressing the pain that we've experienced from injustice in our lives or in other people's lives. And I'm starting to rant, which is one of my superpowers, but it's also a power that I want to learn, is the power of meditation and being more quiet. So I'll do that. Peace.
That jump in again. You mentioned the spiritual side of natural law, and I hate harking back to my current situation, but it is at the forefront of my mind. I've noticed during this that the people who's like lots of them round about me who haven't really paid any attention to the spiritual side of their being struggled more. Just naturally struggled more, had more questions and wrestling with the questions and stuff like that. And yeah, that's been quite apparent just now as well. And just to take a slight detour with healing, I just wanted to bring this up. I'm sure everybody's noticed healing within this community. See the truth movement, freedom movement, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure everybody's noticed there's too much infighting. There's too many people fighting each other. And it would be better if people could just like stop it and bury the hatchet and kind of get together as a community, as a more united front. You'd get a lot more progress, I think, that way. I don't know how to go about doing that, reaching out to people, whatever. It just kind of, it's saddening to see all the fighting going on all over the place. And another reason I'm bringing that up, because like I've had a community gather around my family just now, and I didn't realise how much that helped until it happened. The kindness and the compassion I'm getting off people is like tangibly authentic. And that's just by being united as a community around somebody that needs a bit of help. I'll leave it at that. Let somebody else come in.
All right, cool. People can also check out Dissolving the Divide. It's a wonderful podcast to have with Leslie Powers and I. We go into some of this infighting bullshit and things of that level where people are still polarized on issues that are not necessarily invalid, but they're not a fucking priority in regards to the freedom fucking movement, because there are priorities that we all need to step towards, as a proper fucking unit. Unity. You can't spell community without that. And keeping yourself balanced. Forget, Oscar, you mentioned meditation. You mediate to alleviate the imbalance of your fucking life. And, getting your thoughts more inlined and calm, as well as the emotions and all that stuff. So here's to yourself, and you must love yourself to health. Respects to Levolution. They have a great solution in a superfood. It's helped me. The nectar of Athanasia. This is probably the best shit I have in-house. Like literal liquid gold, better than the monatomic gold and that kind of stuff. It's even better than colloidal silver, but I make that shit. You need that 99.9999999 pure silver wire. Make, little copper wire connections to 3 9-volt batteries. Connect them, put in some water, 5-10 minutes. You got something to throw into some kind of coffee filter, and you have some colloidal silver, which has a lot more parts per million than a lot of shit that you find on the shelves. You might find bottles like this. This is actually zinc, and 'tis the season to maybe supplement a little zinc that will stave off, common cold type of things, as well as eating foods or having magnesium salts. because there's a huge magnesium deficiency in the world. And they sell this in France. It's pretty cool. I just mix it up with water sometimes. I'll throw in like a couple of granules of Celtic sea salt, because there's like upwards to like 80 something minerals mixed in that. It's a great thing to have to start your day. And for aches and pains, my sister made this a long time ago for me, and just mixing in, a proper type of oil to dilute, certain essential oils, clove, lavender, oregano, thyme, all these things. They're beautiful, right? And I've had a crisis of consciousness and health because I had like eczema back in like 2010, and it wasn't for a while until it was so annoying and frustrating and infuriating that I snapped and like just lit a fire up my fucking ass and delved into all these fucking rabbit holes, as well as a lot of burning, questions and things I wanted answers in regards to this whole awakening process. But alternative health was a huge catalyst for me. And I was real quick. I originally came to Europe to live permanently here back in 2010 in Paris. I got off the airplane on crutches because I had a horrible accident playing soccer. I played for like 20 years, and that was the end of that. And it gave me time to like 3 months of recuperating from a slight tear in my ACL. Meniscus was fucked up, and cartilage was a bit shattered up in there. So I had 3 things going on that were flipping my life a little upside down and making me question, my choices of health, and why, it was an accident kind of on my own. And I know why, because I was dehydrated. I was drinking too much, smoking too much, not drinking enough water. I was eating healthy, but not healthy enough. And just, like I mentioned in the beginning, like too many negatives, are going to overflow and outlast the positives, so things to consider, as well as, things to get back on track. And if you're looking to get off certain addictions, whether it be smoking, alcohol, even different types of foods or whatever, or maybe just give your immune system a reset, even your gut flora ecosystem a reset, do a fasting, right? And even the Master Lemon Cleanse is something that has helped me out leaps and bounds. And it's like I get like super fucking healthy, like in light body mode, like multidimensionally in a sense. But it's just lemon, maple syrup, a dash of cayenne pepper, and a cup of fucking water. You drink that all day, every day, for however many days you want to do it, even up to 40. I've done it up to 33, and oh wow, yeah. You get those breatharian sentiments, right? You understand like the precipitation of source energy from the sun to, from through the space dust into our planet, that is the container of, all these elements that we have in the mineral world, and then, the plant kingdom, insects, animals, and all that stuff. Well, and then us, like, are us and animals not the most dense things to consume and digest? Is it not? You know what I mean? So things to consider with that. And I know there's different body types and all that stuff. But veganism is pretty darn aligned to natural law. And it doesn't mean that, someone's a bad person if they're not vegan and they don't know natural law because they're not fucking vegan, just like making apple cider vinegar. You can make your own tincture. You throw in a lot of different herbs in there, even some garlic, turmeric, mix it with some black pepper, because that really activates the healing properties of turmeric. Black pepper and turmeric, apparently they go together. I learned that at one of my favorite farmers markets here in France. And yeah, let thy food be thy medicine. Source it from as locally as possible and organically as possible, right? So there's a lot to consider, right? And I guess that's all, because we can go on. But yeah, if you really want to activate your shit on a higher fucking level, this helped me out so much. It's indium. It's kind of a rare element. It's pronounced Indiamese, the brand, and what it does, it really cleanses and opens up and activates the glandular system. And it's not just the pineal gland, but the pituitary and the hypothalamus and the thyroid and all these other glands that account for so much activity within the body and operating on those higher levels to really get that neocortex in the forefront of our quality of thought, right? So yeah, just a little food for thought, right? And always keep that mentalism in mind. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Merci beaucoup et bon appétit. Huh? Yeah.
Hello, right. I'm just gonna end because I know we're sort of kind of wrapping up, aren't we? Yeah, what I've got from this talk tonight is pretty much, I think the biggest problem with people not recognizing their healing capabilities has been because for so long they have put that responsibility to someone else, through the medical profession. So what I would put out there to everyone is just like take small steps and learn how to trust that your body is well capable of healing. Yeah, it's I think fear is getting in the way of healing. And yeah, take small steps. The next time you have a cold, don't take any paracetamol, don't take any Lemsip. Take real lemons, a bit of ginger, and as Derek just said, turmeric with black pepper. So, yeah, grated raw ginger, just to help bring out those symptoms, but don't suppress them. Just go with them. Those symptoms are there because it's your body's way of finding balance. So if you exercise just something like a common cold like that, and that will slowly build up trust that your body is marvelous, is well capable of healing itself. I've gone through many ailments which a lot of people would have probably gone to the hospital for, but because I know how the body works and I trust it, like I've managed to get rid of kidney stones without taking medication, as long as you do the right steps. And yeah, get used to it. Pain's another thing that people are so frightened of. No one likes to feel pain, do they, physically or emotionally or mentally? But I do think for true healing to take place, we do need to start trusting. Yeah, that's all I want to say is start learning to trust yourself.
Can I add one point?
Of course.
I think it's there is no way around for real holistic spiritual healing to go on a vegan diet. So especially as a human being. So I think that's also a really great part of healing, because we have to stop enslaving other animals and live a moral lifestyle. And in my view, that's also a big point we have to make if we want to go the path of healing all the way.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, as I said at the beginning, it's such a huge topic. Could go in so many different directions. I just wanted to say the one thing that you know, I was depressed for like really chronically depressed for years, and then recently I thought about it, and I thought, well, what's changed? What's the thing that's really changed in my? Why is it that I'm not anymore? And I might have said this on the show before, I can't remember, but the thing in my worldview that's changed the most is that I I know that the argument of statism is invalid. I know it seems like a strange connection to make, but for me, this part of healing in my worldview, when I understood, largely thanks to Lark and Rose, that statism was completely invalid and that no one could possibly argue it with any legitimacy. That shifted something at that time, shifted my worldview so much, and I realized that I wasn't this kind of crazy outsider that was kind of fighting a system and I couldn't possibly win. I actually realized that, oh no, I'm on the side of truth and I actually can't possibly lose. You know, and that shift in worldview is an healing of my worldview, you know, and it really shifted deeply, a deep kind of self-perspective of seeing myself as this kind of railing against the machine, to seeing myself as like someone that was just like, what I sort of took the power of within that dynamic, you know, and that completely shifted the energy massively. So yeah, just to sort of, that's something I just thought I'd throw in at the end. And of course, yeah, there's so much healing, you know, intuition, you know, when it comes to, you know, like I use for the thumbnail, I use nettles because I eat nettles and I love nettles. I sting myself with nettles to heal, you know, like they're just, to me, they're like, they just speak to me. It's something that I just discovered in recent years, you know. There's so much, like that Derek was touching on, there's so much in terms of the physical, you know, and it's down, a lot of it's down to intuition and being really, just really tuning in to exactly what you need, you know. Right, anyway, so thank you so much, everyone. And it looks like we're going to be talking next week about objective truth. And thanks, Oscar, for leading on getting the topics lined up ahead of time. If I can ask you a favor, if you're watching this, if you wouldn't mind just clicking all the buttons and all that kind of stuff, it just helps to nudge the thing along, nudge the algorithm. We're up to we've passed 100 subscribers. Yes. Next step, 1,000. So yeah, that would be good. And also you can join us on the Telegram group, that's over there. And there's all kinds of resources in the description below. And I think that's all the things I need to say to do with that. Only other thing to say is happy solstice, merry Yule, and yeah, let's enjoy this dark moment of 3 days of stillness, which I think on day 2, aren't we? Oh, it's nice.
Yeah, and that's a good indication for us to be like, hey, we're still light bearers, not in the Luciferian sense, but, you know, let that inner light shine in these darker hours even. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so thanks so much, everyone, and see you next time.
It's been a pleasure speaking with all of you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
thanks for everyone
conversation.
with comments as well.
Likewise.
0
Great.
Point Energy, Peaceful Penguin, I see y'all. 0 Point Spirituality, excuse me. So yeah, sorry, Neems, go for it. Neem is a great herb as well, right? Healing.
Neem, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cool. All right, cheers. Thanks, everyone, and see you next time on Europa Natural Law. Cheers.